Tonight, as we start our meeting, we'll have the invocation. We'll ask Commissioner Jones if he would to have the invocation for us, after which the pledge to the flag will be led by Commissioner Bob Barnwell. Would you stand, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings that you have given us. We ask, dear Lord, that you be with us as county commissioners tonight as we go about our county's business and our county's government, and may we as commissioners take the business tonight seriously and vote in the best interest of our citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated, please. Call the roll. Roll call, Ms. Anderson.
We have 21 present, 3 absent. Commissioner Hewitt, Commissioner McCord, Commissioner Cheryl Wilson.
Commissioner Hewlett called and apparently has some medical difficulties in his family. Commissioner McCord, of course, is still in NHC, and Commissioner Wilson is out of town on business. So those are those that are missing from our group tonight. Approval of minutes of the November 22nd special session. These were sent out to you, so I'll entertain a motion that we adopt the special session minutes.
Second.
Commissioner Cook, second. Commissioner Chalfant. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered, unanimous. January 9th, 2006, County Commission meeting minutes were mailed to each of you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt those. Commissioner Mills, Commissioner Davis, the second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous, so ordered. Introduction, acceptance of the Highway Commission minutes. Those were mailed to each of the members of the County Commission. I'll entertain a motion to accept those Highway Commission minutes. Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Hughes the second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous adoption of the Highway Commission minutes. Citizens communication. There are no citizens signed up to speak tonight. So moving on to communications and messages, Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the county commissioners. We have a proclamation of appreciation. We have several individuals that work very tirelessly, that live in our county, from the country music business, the association that many of you are very familiar with. And if you would allow me, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invite up here with us as we read this to give these proclamations. We have some pictures out for these individuals, but if you would allow me, I'd like to ask Sheriff Ricky Headley, who was very instrumental in the fair, and also to join me up here would be Dave Crouch, the fair chairman, and yourself for being so involved in working with these people. I wish all of you would come down here as I read this and have the individuals step up, as we call them, if you don't mind. Ricky, before I get into this, there a few words you'd like to say?
I just want to thank the individuals that are with us tonight. Jim Ed Brown, Margot Smith, Jenny Pruitt, 3 dear friends of mine that was so instrumental in helping us put together what I think was the biggest night and the most successful night of the Williamson County Fair. We called it the Grand Ole Country Night, and we're looking forward to it again this year. And I also want to say that, you know, I've been reading in the newspaper, and they've not stopped there. These 3 plus several others I just read are getting ready to do the same thing, to put on a show to raise money for the Martin Center in Brentwood. So they're just continuously giving to the community, and we appreciate it so very, very much.
like to say a few things for us at Houston Golf?
I just want to say thank you. I've said many times that our fair team of volunteers, I'll put them up against anybody, and here are just some more wonderful examples of the volunteer spirit that came out of the county and made this fair such a lot of fun and such a success, and we just appreciate so much what y'all all did for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To all of those that are here tonight, especially the stars that are here tonight, we want to thank them. But one of the things that we've done as a part of this, when they finished and they worked for us and did a wonderful job at the fair, they indicated that the most prized possession that they probably could get from this whole performance was a photograph of all 6 of them on the stage with Sheriff Ricky Headley. And tonight, what we've done, we've presented and we'll be presenting to each of them a photograph that includes all 6 of them on stage together with Sheriff Headley, and each one of them, the 7 of them, have signed this, and we're going to present this to them as a token of our appreciation.
If y'all allow me to read this into the minutes, and if I would, I'd ask each one of them to stand and come on, join us up here a little bit. Whereas in 1977, Jim Ed Brown and Helen Cornelius teamed up to win the Country Music Association coveted award for the Vocal Duo of the Year and Single of the Year and Album of the Year, and continue today playing their hits to country music audiences nationwide. And whereas Roy Acuff introduced Little Jimmy Dickens to the Grand Ole Opry in 1948, who was later inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1983, and continues today being a dynamic opera star. And whereas Stonewall Jackson became a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 1956, making history as the only unknown artist ever signed to the Grand Ole Opry roster without first having a record contract, making the transition from farmer to Opry star in the shortest time in country music history. And whereas in 1973, Jeannie Pruitt was named as the 63rd member of the most prestigious radio show in the world, the Grand Ole Opry, still performing today while working for nonprofit organizations to put back into the business that has given great things to her. And whereas Margot Smith, often referred to as the world's famous Tennessee yodeler, has achieved monumental success in both the country music and the Christian music industry. And whereas after 55 years without a county fair, the Williamson County Fair Board was established and produced a phenomenal Williamson County Fair in August of 2005, which included a spectacular performance by these legendary country music artists. And whereas it is rare that country music artists retain popularity decade after decade, and these country music artists provide their legendary talents and their time at no cost to the Williamson County Fair. And it's now that I say and ask that it be resolved that the Board of County Commission, meeting in the regular session today, hereby honors the country music legends Jim Ed Brown, Helen Cornelius, Little Jimmy Dickens, Stonewall Jackson, Jeannie Pruitt, Margot Smith for their great talent and their showmanship provided to our community at the 2005 Williamson County Fair.
Thank you, Rogers. Thank you so much. I was so proud to be involved in the first county fair for so many years here in Williamson County. I want to say thanks to the talent that I put together for that show, along with Ricky's help. We did a wonderful job, and thank you all so much for this memento tonight.
They didn't tell me what I was going to get into here, and I didn't know I was going to be among a bunch of dignitaries, or I would have worn a tie. You know, I would have tried to dress up. No, let me, you know, you have started something here that I think is fantastic. I love carnivals and I love fairs because it's still the only place where you can take the children from 1-year-old to grandpas and grandmas, which is, I'm becoming one of them very rapidly here, but that you can go and you can enjoy yourself. And I say to each and every one of you and all of you that have started this, don't let it stop, please. If I have the pleasure of living awfully close to all of y'all. I just, every once in a while, I jump across the line into Williamson County and say I'm from Williamson County. But I step out of my front door and I'm in Williamson County. So anyway, it is good. I thank y'all very much for the opportunity to come down and visit with you. But I thank the sheriff also for putting this together and making it possible to do this and get it started. And let me be a part of it forever. Thank you.
I thank you, too, as Jim Ed said, for being a part of this, and I hope I can be a part of it this next year. And it's really neat to see all the people on stage. I love the picture. And I'm getting older, but I can still yodel. There you go.
Well, it's not often that we give them something, but I'm going to ask them to give the pictures back, and we'll put them in a frame for them. We were waiting for everyone to sign them. And it's, you know, it's typical government work. It takes us a little longer to get something done.
What is this, Indian giver? What is it?
We will send them back to you. Yeah. We want to put them in a frame. We'll get them all framed.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Which slide?
Yeah.
Bye, Jenny. Bye-bye. Bye, hon. Bye. Continue to yodel.
Okay.
Bye, Jenny.
We had every intention tonight. Helen Cornelius is sick. Jim had said she called and was sick. Stonewall is in Florida, couldn't be here, and little Jimmy Dickens is in Cleveland. So we'll get all their signatures on all those photographs and get them presented to them and get that all taken care of. So thank you, Mayor, for putting that, Sheriff Headley for getting it worked out for us. Under communications still, we've got some resolutions tonight that we need to enter into the record to make sure that there are no objections. We have 3 late filed resolutions. Resolution number 20617. This is a resolution for $132,000 that has been filed. It's in your packet as a late file resolution. Is there any objection to hearing 20617 this evening? Any objection? I see none, so we'll add that to the late filed under the appropriations. 20618 for $62,145. Any objection to hearing 20618 this evening? See no objection. So we'll add that after 17. And then the final late file resolution is 20619, which is a THDA home grant for $500,000. Any objection to adding that under the appropriations report of the agenda this evening? I see no objections. And then we have one resolution, resolution number 2-06-2, that the maker, Commissioner Jones, has pulled. 2062 has been pulled. Any other announcements on resolutions before we go into the agenda? Very well. Moving on, report of county offices. Mayor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could, I'll ask David Coleman to make his way up here and give you the financial situation of the county.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we've passed out to you tonight the monthly budget report for December 31st, so this gives you a 6-month glance at our budget, and everything appears to be in order at this time and tracking along as we would expect. And if you have any questions on that, I'll be glad to entertain those, or if you'd like to call me in my office about any of those, I'll be glad to address those. We also have 3 monthly reports from the Cool Springs Conference Center, October, November, December. They're all positive, but I will point out that the October report, we received a check of $61,681. To my knowledge, that's the largest single monthly payment that we've received from the conference center since it's been in operation. So just wanted to bring you up to date on those. Any questions, Mr. Chairman?
Any questions of Mr. Coleman? I see none. Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Thank you, David. I have 3 items, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring to your attention. First of all, let me report on the Resolution 20610. This is a resolution you'll be entertaining under the other. Resolution 20610 during the Property Committee meeting the other night asked for a due diligence, and I'd like to report that the due diligence has been done. It's completed on the piece of property that's located in Spring Hill. The pictures are up, and I'll ask Ms. Hayes if she would to pass those pictures around. They're up on Mrs. Hayes and Mr. Lynch's desk to let you look at the property. These were provided as a courtesy by Kevin at the school system, so you can get a better idea of what you'll be voting on. But the due diligence has been completed, and it's acceptable and buildable. Also, we have one item that's a late file resolution I would like to bring to your attention tonight, the importance of this. It is late file resolution 20619. As many of you know, we serve on many regional committees throughout the Middle Tennessee area, and one of those is the Greater Nashville Regional Council. Greater GNRC, it's often the initials for that, notified myself that in writing that the home grant funds available from the federal government, that certain areas of Williamson County look like they would be eligible. So there's this resolution tonight, the federal funds are available for housing repairs and new construction. The very first step is what you're doing tonight, is have the body, the county commission body, approve a resolution that we are interested in it, and then we will start the application processes. Well, I'm hoping tonight through the news and some other media that we have that all the applications will have to be received by March the 10th, which is prior to the next county commission meeting. Now, that's not the time that the individuals will be applying. We have to get that information in to them, and we will know by the next county commission meeting whether we've been accepted. The grant is all grant funds, $500,000, $500,000 is available to Williamson County residents who meet the eligibility requirements based on an income limit set by the federal government. The grant recipients themselves will be announced in May of this year. We simply serve as the conduit, and GNRC, Greater Nashville Regional Council, will administer the grants on our behalf. So when that comes up, that's the full story behind it. The third item that I'd like to report to Mr. Chairman, to the County Commissioners, is an area that's ongoing for well over a year to 18 months, and it's the Grassland Sewer Project update. I have provided for the 8th and 9th District of County Commissioners a copy of this, but I've got 9 items that I'd like to report so that the people out there will have an opportunity to attend the meeting that we're having. First of all, we have the approval from the Tennessee Department of Environmental and Conservation for the general project and for any necessary streams or creeks that we need to cross. Second of all, we have approval from the Tennessee Department of Transportation to cross Hillsborough Road. We have everything put out for the bids. At this time, we will need to acquire permanent easements from approximately 49 property owners and temporary easements from approximately 230 property owners. Later this week, legal counsel will be sending out those letters to each one of these individuals. There will be a public meeting, a public hearing at the Franklin Recreation Center on April the 4th at 6 p.m. We will have legal counsel there. We will have SS&R there to answer any of their questions. There's also been a space created on our county website with information on the sewer project. It is located under the public notices as Grassland Sewer Study. That would be Williamson, www.williamson-10.org. Any questions that were presented at the last public meeting, all of those questions are posted on that location at the website. I'd like to say thank you, too, to the County Highway Department, and particularly Eddie Hood, to help us to locate these lines in the county right-of-ways of the roads so that the permanent easements needed would be minimal as possible. And working with Eddie and the Highway Commission, we've been able to get as close to the edge of the road, or in some cases right on the edge of the road and into the road area, and at some later date we will have to do some paving out in that area, but this will save in the cost significantly. And finally, the negotiations with Linwood Utility are ongoing and will continue until these other activities are continued. That's it, Mr. Chairman. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer.
Questions of the mayor? See none. Thank you, sir. Director of Schools, Dr. Rebecca Sharber.
I have just a few quick updates for you this evening. Ms. Holman is passing out some folders to you. These folders contain information about the resolution that was pulled this evening. And we want to give everyone time to look at this information, and we plan to reintroduce that resolution in the future, but we do want people to have an opportunity to look at this information. And certainly if you have any questions, call our office. When you look at it, though, you will see a little bit of a variance in some numbers, and that's because we have filed things at different times, and we're in the process of amending some of the costs. But this will give you an opportunity to look at information before we actually bring a resolution or finish bringing this resolution through the committee structure and the full commission. We are working hard still to find new school property. The Spring Hill School, we have found the property, which is adjacent to the property for the rec center. So we do have all the due diligence done on that. And if you have any questions about that, Kevin is here and he can answer those. But the due diligence is good for both of those pieces of property. And we are doing well on the design of the school that's going to go on that property as well. We still are looking for property in the Nolensville area, however. We think we're closing in on some property, but we don't have it yet. But we hope to use a very similar design on both properties, and we should be able to save the district some money by doing that. And we're hoping that we like this design well enough to keep using it over and over for a while. The Middle College High renovations that we've been doing are proceeding very well. In fact, I would say they're proceeding a little ahead of the schedule that we had set. So I'm not going to say exactly that we're going to be in ahead of time, but I'm hoping we might be a little ahead of when we thought we were going to be in the building, and we were pushing them pretty hard to get in the building. They've done a wonderful job of working on that building, and we're excited about the opportunity to move there. We thank all of you who were able to attend the Franklin High School ribbon cutting ceremony. If you've been through the building, I know you're as proud of it as we are, and we thank you again for your participation in that. And if you have not had an opportunity to go through the building, and I'm sure Ms. Dickerson would not be happy that I'm volunteering her for a personal tour, but I'm sure that any commissioner who would like to go through the building who has not had an opportunity to do that yet would be very welcome to do that. And we had a wonderful art show at the Frist over the weekend, and I'm not sure what other commissioners were able to attend, but Mr. Green I did see there, and I really appreciate his making the time to come to our art show. It's a wonderful event that the Frist Center has partnered with us to do, to display our students' art in that kind of a venue. It's a very, very special opportunity. And I hope we'll be able to do it again next year, and maybe more people will be able to attend, because it's a really, really nice thing that we can do for our children. And that is all I have for you this evening, unless you have any questions.
Any questions of Dr. Sharber? Commissioner Chalfant?
This is just a maintenance request. I was in attendance to a granddaughter's basketball game at Walnut Grove Saturday, and they couldn't figure out why all those baskets and boxes and paper were doing all over the side of the floor until the water started dripping down on them. Could we kind of get an idea, please, on how that's coming on, or if that problem was, or you were aware of that problem?
I was aware that we had a problem when we had the glass blocks in that wall, but I thought we had taken those out and replaced them, so I'll have to find out about that, Mr. Chalfant.
This was directly above the bleachers.
Okay. We will look into
on
that.
that
Thank you.
side.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hayes?
Dr. Sharper, I just wanted to congratulate your food services for the high rating they've received again. Every year they receive above 90%, many of them 98 and 99%. That's really a great credit to our whole system.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know they will appreciate that recognition as well.
Commissioner Brockman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since I wasn't able to come to the ribbon cutting, I just wanted to say how proud I am of the design of Franklin High School, and I just think it's a model that I hope we can use again. It's very special, and I think it got it right. So, and I think it means a lot to the character of that high school.
Well, thank you very much. I know we're all in hopes we don't need to build another high school in the next 3 years or so, but it's certainly out there in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Moon?
Dr. Sharper, before you begin the site work on your new school, will you be able to present the commission with a complete budget that's been bid out and will be accurate to the finish of the site work, so that we won't have any cost overruns like we had in Nolensville, which I'm sure none of us are happy about?
Well, we do intend to do that. Now, we do have a resolution before you this evening to try to go ahead and fund part of the building, so we can go ahead before the fall and get started on buildings. But as soon as we can finish the design of the Spring Hill building, because we're working on that now, and go ahead and get that out to bid. But until we can locate property for the Nolensville building, we can't finish the design, and I know you understand that. So what we're asking tonight is that we be allowed, and you'll approve intent to fund for part of the cost of both buildings, and then as soon as we can bid them, we'll come back and ask for the remainder of the money. At that point, we would have a hard bid cost.
I was referring to, perhaps I didn't make it clear, and I apologize, I was referring to the site work that you would have to do to prepare the site, get the utilities, and do all that before you start construction. And then we have a resolution that we pass that you would get a bid for a turnkey project, that is from the very pouring of the footings to the very final phase of construction. That those will be required according to the resolutions that we've passed.
Well, I'm not sure that that's exactly what we're trying to do. I understand what you're saying, and it's sort of going that direction. But I don't think we had planned to come and get a resolution passed just for the site work.
Then how will we know how much the site work will cost?
Well, that's going to be in part of the bid for the building.
You're going to have the same person do the construction as the site work?
I don't know that.
Yeah, usually that's not. All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Fortney, would you like to add some comment to address
Thank
that,
you.
please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our process that we're going through right now is that we now, as of Sunday's paper, have advertised for our construction management firm that's going to be assisting us through the construction. We have awarded the design contract to Johnson & Bailey Construction. We've arranged a fee structure with them on the design to where when we incorporate this design into the Nolensville project, we've got a very good discounted fee. It's half of what we would normally be paying if using the same floor plan, and since we have to build these at about the same time, it makes sense to try to utilize that prototype design throughout. In going out for advertisement for the construction management, we intend on getting them on board within the next 15 days. We're letting our bids run, or proposals run, and then we'll be selecting our CM. At that point, we'll have our CM working hand in hand with the architect. They'll be looking at the site data that we've provided through the geotechnical. We've looked at our tap fees through the city of Spring Hill, through the water company through Spring Hill. We've looked at Middle Tennessee Electric for our electrical service, so we'll have those costs in hand before we ever go to bid. We will also have a very good estimate of the amount of site work that has to be accomplished on this site, including underground utilities, all of our site utilities, all of our water lines, sewer lines coming into the site, the roadways and pavement, and we'll have that package out prior to, of course, having the building package. Our construction manager has a phase called the pre-construction phase that they are going to be pricing all of the design work that's been submitted by the architect and approved by the board. At that point, we'll have a very good handle on the actual cost. Once we review that amount, or those figures that they give us along with the design, we will then put that out to bid, and they will bid the individual trades, utility construction, site preparation, building pad construction, and then once we get those bids within our budget, we will then go in and finish the rest of the design of the building. And then the regular trade packages will be bid out, such as the concrete footings, grade beams, foundations, floor slabs, masonry, steel, and so forth. Is that answering your question? But before we get final funding, okay, we will have a lump sum cost of this building to say, this is what our estimates have come in from. We can bid it out and then fund it from there.
That sounds great. I mean, and this is the same thing that we did in Nolensville, but yet we had a 40% cost overrun. And I'm sure you don't want that to happen again, and I'm sure it won't happen again. What you're doing sounds correct.
Yeah, we feel it's prudent to get that. The issue has always been getting that construction management firm on board early in the stage. That allows us also to look at the value engineering items that we can take prior to it ever being put on paper to the final drawings. And we hope to be able to bring all of this together in one concise budget for you folks and say, this is what we know it's going to cost. Once it's funded, we lock in with the CM with a guaranteed maximum cost, and that's a construction management at risk type contract.
Thank you, Mr. Portman.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Sharman.
That's why he does what he does, and I do what I do.
And that's why we ask questions like we do.
Exactly.
Other questions of Dr. Sharber? See none?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hospital report, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. I'll make mine brief. I believe you got our packet out previously. I guess the two things I can say, we're full. Construction's going along at a good rate. We're above construction times on certain areas. As I mentioned before, when we first started out, this is a no-growth year for us. We're full. We're at capacity. And we're having to add people and other things, but we'll be ready. We'll probably put the fifth floor in operation within the next 2 weeks. And we've already moved pharmacy to the fifth floor, so it's looking nice. And if you haven't been out there, you need to come and see the sixth and fifth floors, because that's what the whole hospital will look like when we get through each floor. And with that, I just ask if there's any questions I may be able to answer for you.
Questions of Mr. Miller? Commissioner Walton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My son's on the rescue squad, and he's away at college now, but he was home a couple of weeks ago, and they ran an accident and transported to Vanderbilt because Williamson Medical was at capacity. Will this be corrected? Not that it's broken, but when we get through with the construction, will that help? Is that part of what's going on now?
Yes, sir. once we get those other beds online, and once we get both our CCUs back online, we should not have that problem for another 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Scary. Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Mr. Miller, I just recently had a reason to use your outpatient services for a very short, brief period of time. And I'm going to want to commend you and your staff and the way I was in and out quickly, and I was impressed with the way they dealt with it.
Thank you, sir. We've got an excellent board. We've got an excellent medical staff and excellent staff out there. The most complaints, or just about all the complaints we get now, is we can't get them a bed when they come in, but we're working on that.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions, Mr. Miller? See none. Thank you, Dennis.
I'd just like Commissioner Hester, if you'd like, or any of the other commissioners would like to come out and just take a tour of the hospital, we'd be glad to have you there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other committee wishing to make any announcements or report under this section of the agenda? Commissioner Ford?
Commissioner Barnwell had rang in. I don't know what happened to his number, but he rang in first.
I recognize you. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. I'd just like to report from the results from the sale of the Everbright property. As chairman of the property committee, I want to commend the property committee for its work on getting that. We received from that sale, the total bids were 1.4, almost 1.5 million on property that we had appraised for about 850,000. So cleared about 600,000 for the county on that. David Coleman, Leslie Mitchell from the purchasing and budgeting office did an excellent job on that. And one other person that I'd like to thank on that is my wife. If you guys remember on the property committee, we had at one point talked about bulldozing those down. I took her out by those houses, and we sat out in front of them, and she said, somebody will buy those houses. Somebody will buy them and restore them. So I appreciate her input on that and her diligence in working on that on me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hayes?
I just would like to mention for Stan Tyson, the Veterans Service Officer, that this Friday is the deadline to get in your payment for a paver if you want it placed by Memorial Day of this year. That would be $65, and they have to be ordered. They will be placed, as I say, with a special ceremony this year, and then every year thereafter, the other pavers will be added. So please, if you have a friend or relative, a loved one that you want to memorialize, please call Stan Tyson and get that $65 to him. We have about 100 already paid for that will be memorialized and honored on Memorial Day.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Green?
Yes, I'd like to take an opportunity as chairman of the Budget Committee to remind anybody that's making a resolution and has to do with funds, either source of funds or funds to be borrowed, that they have to file a 3-year fiscal impact statement with the resolution. And that's just to notify anybody in the future that, so we have those when we review these at the Budget Committee.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Barnwell?
Yes, I'd just to announce that the February 15th meeting of the Tax Study Committee, that's this Wednesday, has been canceled.
Thank you, sir. Canceling the Tax Study Committee. Commissioner Brockman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As part of the comprehensive plan update, many of you were able to hear Randall Arent, who spoke at the library a few weeks ago, and Joe Horn mentioned to me that that was recorded and it will be played on our cable channel, as well as he's got a copy that he could make available to you. But he is sort of the guru on land design. He has 2 important books. One's called Rural by Design, and the other is Growing Greener, and it was very well attended, and I just think it's something that the public would want to be aware of, as well as the rest of us who could not make it.
Anybody else wishing to report? Okay. Moving on to elections and appointments. The notary's information has been furnished to you in your packet of information, and I assume, Ms. Anderson, there are no changes to that.
No.
I'll entertain a motion to accept and adopt the notaries as presented.
Second.
Commissioner Cook, the motion. Commissioner Green, the second. All in favor of adoption of the notaries, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Moving on to the consent agenda. There are several resolutions that are on the consent agenda. Resolution 2065, 04, 06, and 09. I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Mills to accept the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the recognition. Since this is a situation on 2069, a resolution to abandon a portion of a road, John Williams Road specifically here, I would like to ask that this be in the record. My question is, we have a $400,000.
Okay, our rules, are you asking that we pull this for discussion?
No, sir. I'm just asking for some clarification on the legal interpretation of the $404,000, if I may.
Thank you. Counsel? Mr. Cook?
Mr. Chairman, the question came up with the $404,000, whether the effect of it would be to raise their taxes. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with their taxes being raised. It has to do with the assessed property. It is just a requirement that's in our private act and has been there since like 1937. Other than that, it really has no effect as to the property taxes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cook. Thank you,
Anything
Mr.
else,
Chairman.
Commissioner?
No, sir.
Thank you. Other questions? Consent agenda is up for adoption. I see no, excuse me, Commissioner Moon?
May I ask a question without pulling it from the consent agenda?
Yes.
In the Highway Commission meetings, there was a question, and perhaps I'll defer this to Commissioner Hancock, about whether or not the school buses can do a turnaround in the revised cul-de-sac. But there wasn't an answer that I noted.
On the Williams property, you think?
Yes, sir.
I haven't measured it, but I will. Yes, if it's 50 foot, we can turn around.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Other questions on the consent agenda? Consent agenda is on the board for adoptions. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please.
21 yes.
21 yes. Resolution unanimously adopted. There's no unfinished business. New business. Moving on down to appropriations. Resolution number 2061, resolution appropriating $14,600 additional funds for additional teacher assistant to be paid from service fees for baby care program at Franklin High School. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Cook, second. Committee reports. The school board was 11 yes, 0 no. Education committee. Thank you. Budget Committee?
Budget Committee was 5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Jones.
This is, at Franklin High School, there's a baby care offered, and to meet state standards, they must hire an assistant, and the money for this is going to come from the fees that have been generated.
Any questions of Commissioner Jones on 2061? Would point out to the body that the second line of the expenditure section, there's an extra 3. The second line of expenditures is 141.713.00201. There are too many 3s in there. So make a typographical, if you would, clerk, change that so that there's only 1 3 in that second line.
Okay.
Any other questions on the resolution? I see none. If you're in favor of 2061, press yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote?
21 yes.
Thank you. 21 yes. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2062 has been pulled. Resolution number 2063, resolution requesting the Williamson County Board of Commissioners approval of an intent to fund up to $11,438,000, which represents the 2056 Board of Education capital financing needs from their updated 2005 to 10 capital outlay plan. Commissioner Jones.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Mills. School Board report, 11 yes, 0 no. Education Committee.
5 yes, 0 no.
Budget Committee.
It was 5-4-0 against as amended.
Okay. Let's get an explanation, and then we'll come back to you, Commissioner Green, for the amendment. Commissioner Jones.
These are capital improvements and needs that the school board has requested, and if you have any other questions, Dr. Sharber or Mr. Fortney is here to answer any of those questions.
Okay. I'll entertain your amendment, Commissioner Green.
Yes, I'd like to move to amend the 7th whereas, where it deals with the funds to replace lockers in poor condition. I'd like to amend the amount from $720,000 to $320,000.
All right, sir. Commissioner Walton on the second to amend to reduce the locker amount to $320,000, reducing the total amount by $400,000. The new amount will be $11,038,000. Discussion on the amendment. I see none. That's an appropriate amendment. Commissioner Mills.
Why are you reducing that? What's the rationale behind that?
Thank you. Commissioner Green.
Mr. Chairman, those were reduced at the request of the superintendent of schools.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams.
Commissioner Green answered my question.
Thank you, sir. Other questions on this resolution, this amendment that reduces the total amount by $400,000? Amendment's loaded on the board. If you're in favor of the $400,000 reduction, press yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution, the amendment is adopted, reducing the amount to $11,038,000. Any further discussion on the motion as amended? I see none. Resolution 2063 is up for adoption, consideration. If you're in favor of the motion as amended, press the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution as amended is adopted unanimously. That was one of the resolutions that I was going to suggest to you. Let me ask you for the record, I assume that there was no objection to hearing that resolution because the appropriate financial report must be filed with the resolution. Was any objection to hearing that, because it is a violation of the rules? Any objection? So let the record reflect there is no objection to hearing that. But as Commissioner Green had indicated, on any appropriation resolution that requires additional funding by own rules, so we've established that that financial document must be attached. So take note of that as we move forward. Resolution number 2067, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 Parks and Recreation budget by $500. Revenues to come from donations. Commissioner Smith.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Commissioner Langston, the second. Parks and Rec Committee, Commissioner Smith.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
These funds are to come from donations, and I would ask for your approval.
Any questions of Commissioner Smith on this resolution? I see none. 2067 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted it wishes to vote? Record the vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2068, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 Parks and Recreation budget by $228,000. Revenues to come from participant fees. Commissioner Smith.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Langston. Parks and Rec Committee.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Smith.
The need for this is caused by additional volumes in terms of programming and participation on the part of the community, and the funds will come from additional participant fees.
Sir, questions of Commissioner Smith? I see none. 2068 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted who wishes to vote. Record a vote, please.
21 yes.
Resolution is unanimously adopted, 21 yes, 0 no. Resolution 20611, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 Sheriff's Department budget by $6,400. Revenues to come from unappropriated county general funds. Commissioner Moon.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Chalfant. Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Law Enforcement Committee, Commissioner Moon.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this is money to upgrade the training room facility at the Sheriff's Department where DUI classes are held. This money is collected by the DUI offender and has already been deposited into county funds.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Commissioner Moon on this resolution? I see none. 20611 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record the vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20612, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 Sheriff's Department budget by $10,000. Revenues to come from state grant funds. Commissioner Moon.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Chalfant. Budget Committee report.
5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Law Enforcement, Commissioner Moon.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, this is pass-through state grant money from the DOT to allow the Sheriff's Department to do random sobriety checks.
Thank you, sir. Questions of Commissioner Moon on this resolution? I see none. 20612 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please, Ms. Anderson.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20613, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 Highway Department budget by $500,000 for paving expenses. Revenues to come from unappropriated highway fund balance. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Hayes. Highway Commission approved this 5-4, 0 against. Budget Committee.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Explanation, please, Commissioner Green.
This is a request for additional funds for the increased cost of the asphalt due to higher petroleum cost for paving costs, which exceed the current budget.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Commissioner Green on Resolution 13? I see none. So for consideration, if you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. If everybody voted that wishes to vote, record a vote. Ms. Anderson.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20614, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005 and 6 archives budget by $1,951.21. Revenues to come from State of Tennessee grant. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Cook, the second. Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Explanation, please, sir.
This is a grant from the state of Tennessee to the archives, Williams County Archives, to purchase certain supplies and equipment to aid in the preservation, arrangement, and description of endangered records that they have.
Commissioner Hayes.
I think we especially owe a debt of gratitude to Senator Bryson and Representative Sargent for making this possible for us. We also received one for the Historic Village, so we do appreciate that.
Thank you. Other questions of Commissioner Green? I see none. 20614 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you very much. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20615, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-2006 economic development budget by $99,200. Revenues to come from federal grant funds. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Hughes, the second. Budget Committee report, please.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Green.
This is a Knowledge Quest Institute's program of the Williamson County Economic Development, and they applied for this grant for funding for costs associated with planning improvements of space occupied by the Cool Springs Life Science Center. Total grants being $99,200.
And as I understand it, Commissioner, we're just a conduit to make this happen.
We're just a conduit, just pass through.
Very well. Other questions? Commissioner Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted a little bit more explanation, if I could, of the other contracted services. Are my understanding there for the Cool Springs Life Science Center is there any way that I could get some clarification on what that money would go to, or
Is David here?
Mr. Coleman, would you come forward, please, sir? The question is, Mr. Coleman, is what services would be provided through other contracted services?
Well, y'all were looking for me. I was looking for Bob I, but I didn't find him.
Bob I, he's here. He's here. You can defer to him.
Address that, Bob?
Good job, David.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Good handoff there, Mr. Coleman. Welcome, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hester, the money, some of the money has already been utilized for equipment to fund an education training center to train a cluster of workers in healthcare and also specific programs in biotechnology for people who are applying for positions or cross-training into healthcare.
Yes, sir.
And those monies are being applied to that, and we're working with public institutions like universities, Belmont, TSU. Vanderbilt will be coming online here. They'll be actually joining us in about 2 months with a technology transfer operation in the center. In order to create a stronger healthcare and life science industry, you need a cluster of workers that are trained and skilled. Otherwise, it's very difficult to grow that business. And with healthcare becoming more technologically oriented, even the doctor's office, people who are working in there need training and technology.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Commissioner?
No,
Thank
no,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Anything further on 20615? I see none. In favor, or excuse me, up for consideration, 20615. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please, Ms. Anderson.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20616, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-2006 Register of Deeds budget by $8,461. Revenues to come from document recording fees. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Hancock. Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please.
This is from fees, a $2 legal document fee that it's recorded by a fee, which you record documents for Register's Office. They're going to use these monies to purchase equipment, upgrade existing equipment, related maintenance to operating costs associated with the Registered Deeds Office.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Commissioner Green on this resolution? See none. 20616 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wish to vote. Record a vote, please.
And 21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted, 21 yes, 0 no. Late file resolution 20617, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-06 public transportation budget by $132,000. Revenues to come from federal funding through the state grant. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Walton, the second. Budget Committee report.
Budget Committee, 5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Green.
This is part of the Van Pool Ride Share Program administered through the TMA. The county's received requests to expand the Van Pool program, and the county has secured federal funds to purchase additional vans. And this purchase we made through the state vehicle purchase contract. And the participants of the van program charge monthly fees for the portion of said monthly rate earmarked for van replacement.
Any questions of Commissioner Green on Resolution 20617? Commissioner Brockman.
Chairman, Commissioner Green, how many vans does this get us? No? Just curious.
Mr. Coleman.
Six.
6 vans. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go back and sit down, David. You're doing well. Any other questions on this resolution? I see none. If you're in favor of this resolution, press the yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wish to vote. Record a vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution number 20618, resolution appropriating and amending the 2005-2006 public transportation budget by $62,145. Revenues to come from reserve account. Commissioner Green.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Langston. Budget Committee report.
5-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please, sir.
This is on the same van program administered through the TMA. This is the continued operation of the van pools is one of the solutions provided for early action contract. This is 2 of the vans from the original fleet have recently been auctioned. 3 new vans will be needed to purchase. The new vans are available through the state vehicle purchase contract again, and is paid through by the participants in the monthly rider fees and earmarked for vehicle replacement cost.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Commissioner Green on Resolution 18? See none. If in favor, Resolution 20618, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record the vote, please.
21 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Moving on to the other, resolution number 20610, resolution authorizing the county mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement for the purchase of property and subsequent construction of a recreational facility. Commissioners Lynch, Hayes, Hester, and Hancock. Motion by Commissioner Hayes, second by Commissioner Lynch. This went to, let's see here. The various committees. This went to Parks and Recreation Committee. Commissioner Smith.
5-4-0 against.
Budget Committee, Commissioner Green.
Budget Committee voted 5-4-0 against.
Property Committee,
5-4-0 against as amended, and once you get through the explanation, I'd like to you'd recognize Commissioner Hancock
Okay.
put on the amendment.
we have, as a point of information, under the whereas that's 4 up from the bottom of the first page, in November 2002, the Board of Commissioners, by resolution, that resolution number should be 11-02-12, not 02. 11-02-12. Madam Clerk, if you'd make that correction in the minutes, that resolution number should be 12. Also, just as point of information, we've talked about it earlier, I do have certification from Mr. Doug Hood from the Parks and Recreation Committee. Mr. Chairman, as required by the Williams County Commission, the real property due diligence has been done and completed on the proposed property located in Spring Hill for the Southern Community Center. All reports meet our requirements and indicate that this site is acceptable, buildable, and has provided a positive response to our real property due diligence requirements. This time I'll recognize Commissioner Hayes, Lynch, Hancock, and Hester as sponsors, and then we'll go from there. Commissioner Hayes?
It is with the greatest of pleasure that we bring before you this piece of property. I think of all the pieces of property that we have looked at for schools and for rec centers, this, if not the best, is certainly one of them, certainly one of the finest and the prettiest. It was, due diligence was conducted on both the school 21 proposed acres and on this 15. At one point, I know Mr. Fortney said that they quit digging at 20 feet and at 1.17 without hitting rock. They just didn't need to go any deeper. It's a beautiful piece of land. It is accessible and will be with development through Highway 31, Columbia Pike, Commonwealth off of Duplex, and then later Port Royal off of the backside. It is, all the agreement is intact as was before, with Spring Hill sharing the $4 million, with our $4 million for the construction, bringing utilities up to the property, and then sharing in the cost of this land. With the due diligence having been unsuccessfully, or to our, not to our satisfaction on the Wades Grove, we found that only 6 of those acres would have been without, not in the floodplain, should we have had the expense of building there. And the expense would have been more even then than it would to have come and bought this property. It is a delightful piece of property. I must thank Mr. Mitchum for his willingness to work with us, Kevin Fortney certainly for his assistance, Mayor Anderson, you, Mr. Chairman, Ken York, and the Spring Hill leaders, as well as Doug for all the help in putting this together. It was done rather quickly, but it was done very carefully and very successfully, and I think sharing the space with our school system would be wonderful. And as the resolution says, the money is there, it is intact, because it was appropriated at a prior resolution. With your permission, I'd like my cohorts to add to that.
Commissioner Lynch?
I want to thank John Mayer for him originally giving the 20 acres for the rec center down there. And although the due diligence showed it was going to cost more money to make the site ready to build than the new property would cost, I still appreciate him doing what he did. This is a beautiful site, and it's a whole lot more centrally located in Spring Hill, and it's just better for all of us every way around.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hancock?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I have my voice to support this, but we did have a concern when it was presented to us, to the Property Committee, of the time frame with the due diligence, and my amendment at the time was to allow the county mayor a back-out clause if, in fact, that due diligence didn't occur, but I understand now that the due diligence has been performed. So I would yield to the chairman of the committee to see if that committee even, if that amendment even needs to be made. I don't really think it does now, unless there's some member of the committee would like us to go forward with it.
Mr. Ford, would you like to follow up on that, sir?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would concur with my cohort, Mr. Hancock, unless there's objection from other members of the property committee who say that we need to have this amendment. I would say we'd go forward without the amendment.
I would, from the chair, state that that's appropriate because we have in writing that it has been finished, completed, and it is acceptable. So the purpose of the amendment would be superfluous because it's already been done. Commissioner Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a beautiful piece of property, and you can tell by looking at the aerial photo that there are many homes surrounding it, and it is a needed resource for the area of Spring Hill. And my understanding is that there is a large population of young people and children in Spring Hill who will be utilizing this facility quite a lot. And I'd like to thank Ms. Hayes, Commissioner Hayes, for her work in finding this property and pursuing this availability for us. Thank you.
Commissioner Hancock, follow up?
Yes, just I want to thank the county mayor for pulling out the stops to get the due diligence performed on this and to working with the commissioners so well after this property was identified and everyone concerned to see that this got before us tonight in the manner it's before us.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Green?
Mr. Chairman, where on this photograph is the land located?
I haven't seen the photograph yet.
Oh, bottom center?
Yeah.
Are the photographs on the way around? I haven't.
We've got some over here.
Okay.
We were trying to locate the property and also Highway 31, which we didn't mention earlier.
That's
I got a different photograph.
Well, Commissioner Hayes, do you have the photograph in front of you? Could you?
I do not, but they're scattered around.
But if you see a pond that's on there, the 15 acres that we're purchasing would be to the pond is on the. We're not. There are two pieces of ponds. On the back side, it's one that Mr. Mitchum has dug. Our property comes on the front side, and it's not seeing the photograph. It's hard for me to tell you where it is because I know the property real well, but it's a virtual beautiful flat. If you could hand me that, Commissioner, I'll tell you. Could I see one of the photographs? No. Okay.
That pretty green area.
Is that a sand trap?
No.
Got a comment down on it, maybe we'll get that too.
Mr. Fortney, where are you? Come here. Would you approach the chair, please? I've been all over it, but yeah, come on up and explain to the commission exactly where the property lies, if you would, please, sir.
I've also brought a survey if anybody would like to look at that. I thought it might be helpful today. Anyone who has the photos, if you would, has anybody been able to identify Highway 31?
Yeah, show where they hold it up and show them.
Show which photograph?
Let me look at a photograph. Let's start this way.
Here's the Publix.
This is Highway 31.
There's Publix.
Okay, right here.
Okay.
This is Commonwealth Drive with the cul-de-sac. The school district has acquired this property right
There's
here.
Mr. Mitchum's house.
Okay? So we're north of Commonwealth Drive. We're east of Highway, or Columbia Highway. And we are west of Portway Road.
Where's the Parks and Rec?
Kevin, are these our photographs?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw for,
I'm going to mark this.
here's the school property, Commissioner Brockman. And then here,
Okay, and then the county property, it does encompass this pond, but that was dug, it's very shallow. And then it comes right to here and stops. It comes right to here.
Okay. That's it.
Did y'all get that?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hayes?
where the road is proposed to come off of 31, if you're familiar with the medical complex, which is next to Publix, there is a building area that opens in that. They're proposing there being the entrance straight across from that, which would be a good place for a traffic light and be a very logical place to enter, which is, I think, a good idea. Directly across, right.
You can have direct access from 31.
That's right.
Go through, get an easement from another piece of property.
Right. The 31 would come off of Mitchum's property, too, and it's being, Spring Hill will require the developer to build that road access under 31.
Will you have to go through the rec center to get to the rec center property to get to the school?
I don't think so, no.
Be a common road.
Let me,
Okay.
if I may explain that, Ms. Brockman.
Mhm.
The school property is north of the dead end of Commonwealth Drive, which is in Spring Hill. I think you'll be able to pick out the cul-de-sac itself on the very southern end of the property.
Right.
The property goes north and continues to the whole 36 acres continues to an excavated pond about midway in the open area or the field that you're looking at. It then goes to the east to the TVA power line easement and then turns back south and makes a complete rectangle. And I'll be glad to come over there and draw it out for you. Access to the property at the present time is Commonwealth Drive. The school district will be putting in a road. Our property begins at that cul-de-sac, so we will bring that road all the way through. It'll be designed for light and heavy-duty traffic, and that will go all the way to the north boundary of the school property. And then from there, the Parks and Recreation would pick up that road and take it all the way in front of their property. There is another access easement that we have requested by the school district of Mr. Mitchum that is at the end of Portway Road on property that he still owns, that he is granting us the easement that goes from Portway Road to the west and ties into our property. The school district and the county could work together to make that road connect both properties. There's also been some discussion, if you're familiar with the new two-story medical plaza building is on Highway 31, which is just south of the new Publix store, there is an intersection to the west. To the east of that is Mr. Mitchum's property, and it's his intent, as we understand today, or in discussions with him, that that property will also be developed. My understanding is that the city of Spring Hill has a desire to see that intersection be connecting to those developments to the east. So at some time at a later date, there are some discussions about opening that to Highway 31, also opening to Port. We asked for that easement off Portway Road and have been granted that easement. And so working all of those, at some date, you should have at least a minimum of 3 access points to the property.
Commissioner Green, any follow-up?
No, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Moon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question on the interlocal agreement. Once the mayor signs it, does that authorize the funds to go ahead and purchase the land and to construct the rec center?
Mr. Cook?
I mean, once he signs it, are the horses out of the barn?
Guys, I drafted it a couple months ago. I'll have to take a look at the resolution. I don't think it's an appropriation resolution, so the appropriation would have to come back, but I'd have to take a look at it, and I don't have a packet, so
Okay.
if someone would like me alone theirs, I'll take a quick look at it.
Jeff, you want to come in? Council, you want to talk about it? Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Moon, I think we already have an intent to fund resolution.
Okay. Then do we have the bids for the construction of the building?
No.
Do we have the bids for the site work?
No.
Then we can't spend the money until we do.
That's correct.
And are you going to do it?
What you're voting on there is to go forth with the interlocal agreement that you concur with this site as a recreational site. We still have additional work to be done. We do not have a we do not have a building plan. We have not done any of that, Tom. We're just in those early stages to get it done.
But the commission will get that before we do the site work and before we start construction of the building.
I would think that Doug, where's Doug? He was here a minute ago. I'm sure that Doug will be working diligently on that and bring it before the Parks and Recreation Committee. If that's what you all want, we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same requirement that we have of the schools and we have of, our resolution says any construction. So I guess what's good for the goose is good for the gander, if you're the gander.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Right ahead, sir.
What we're doing is what you all have asked in the past and what you had requested. We have hired a construction manager, have already done that, and in doing so, we're going to send out RFQs if you choose to approve this tonight, and then we will tell the architects and have it priced through the project manager and the architects that it needs to come in at the $8 million. If it doesn't, in the agreement, I'm proposing that it says they have to redraw to get it to the $8 million.
Thank you, Doug.
That's what we're telling them.
Good. I think that's all we're after, just to get some handle on what it's really going to cost at the end of the day,
Yes, sir.
which is what you want to.
Exactly.
Thank
I was told that it was $8 million, not a dime more, and that's what I plan on bringing it in for.
Or less.
Sir?
Or less.
Or, yeah, that probably is not going to happen.
That wouldn't be bad. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to commend the city of Spring Hill for stepping up to the plate for 50% of this project to get it off the ground. Secondly, there were a couple of comments about the due diligence process, or more than a couple. I would call that a huge success. The first property that we had for this was not appropriate. In our old way of doing things, which is not that long ago, we may have had the property by now and then learned that we had all these problems. So I think Commissioner Hayes referred to it as a slight problem. It's actually a huge success on that first piece of property. Then I have a couple of questions on the resolution itself. Back in 2002, we appropriated $1.5 million to buy land for a recreational facility. And my understanding is that the $375,000 for purchase of the land, at least the county portion, is coming out of that fund. What I want to make sure, is that fund still untouched at this point? That's my first question.
Mr. Hood?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, that money was $1.5 million, which was given to the purchase of a land, not just a recreation facility.
Right, just land.
We have used $150,000 of it to purchase property in College Grove. The other portion of that was taken from the privilege tax, and we also used a portion of it to light the practice fields at Fairview High School for the schools and for the community to use, and that is the only amount of money that's been taken out of there.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I might, hold on, Doug.
Yes, sir.
What my real concern there is we appropriated $1.5 million for a recreational center, which is going to be envisioned at that point as a regional park. And that regional park would be 100 acres. That's what's in the resolution, the original 2002 resolution that we voted on. Has that now, that's now changed?
I'm sorry, the way I understood it was $1.5 million was for land, to purchase land all around the county.
Well, it says land for a regional park. I have the resolution here, and if I may, the Parks and Recreation Department has identified the need for a regional park facility consisting of 100 acres, which would include approximately 8 softball fields, multipurpose fields, playgrounds, walking trails, and open space. That's what my understanding was. The land was to purchase that facility, not a rec facility or not anything else. So what I'm wondering, is that need no longer here, or are we reappropriating this to new needs?
No, the need is here for a regional park that encompasses ball fields, but we have another possibility in the Thompson Station area that a developer is getting ready to donate us a significant amount of property that's going to alleviate a large portion of that.
My concern there was, are we missing the original need, which I certainly agree is there for the adult softball fields, et
Right.
cetera, and we haven't made that much progress on that. I understand why, the cost of land and all that, but now we're taking away more money from that sum of money we appropriated. So
Well-
when land becomes available, can we do the regional park?
For the purchase of property, I can't answer that question by taking $375,000 more out of there. I think it would depend on where the property is. Yes, do we still need the adult softball complex? Yes, sir, we do. This has become, we have a place that we're presently playing adult softball in the Fieldstone Farms area in conjunction with the city of Franklin. So this is a priority to me at building this community center in the south end of the county more than the adult softball, if that helps answer the question. And not to skirt the question, yes, sir, we still need the land, and we probably will not have enough money to purchase the property for what would be presently left in the account after we do this, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay. So this could be robbing Peter to pay Paul, those both needs, and we're going to have to come to the table again.
Or it could be helping our residents in the south end before we help the softball community.
It was also for a passive park, and I think
Yeah.
25% of the acreage just
Yes,
to be
sir.
for walking
And
trails.
I hope we're going to be able to address that by what the developer is proposing to do for Parks and Recreation in the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Brockman?
Is the cost of $47,000 per acre in line with what the school system paid for their 21 acres? And is that also in line with other, property
It's
costs out there?
Commissioner, it's identical to what the school paid, and any appraisals, if you look at what's going on there, property is probably worth more than that per acre. The balance of it is already promised by Mr. Mitchum to developers at a significant increase in price above what we've paid. Anything else, Commissioner?
That was my question. Thank you.
Commissioner Hayes?
One final word. This will be a center for all the south end of the county, not just Spring Hill, although it will include all of Spring Hill. But where it's located will be accessible through all the 3 proposed entrances to every area of the south end of the county. And we really do know that recreation is for all ages, and that will be kept in mind and incorporated in this center. It's for the young, the middle-aged, the young adults, and the seniors. And Doug's programs, as you well know, do enter all those, answer all those needs. This center will be something that I think we'll be very proud of and will service all of our county.
Thank you. Commissioner Hancock?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commission, to, I think, help clarify in everyone's mind the sequence of events. Commissioner Davis is correct in what he said, certainly about the original resolution. The normal process would be to purchase the land, if you got the land paid for, to come back and then get money for your center, and that would be additional money over the money that's used to purchase the land. When the window of opportunity opened down there, the process just absolutely turned around. It was reversed. So ultimately, we will not be getting any more money than we would have got when the entire thing ran its process the other way. We just changed the sequence of the events.
Let me say publicly, that Mr. Bud Mitchum, who is the property owner, has been a gentleman of the highest order in working through this process. he made an opportunity available to us. And I want to thank Kevin Fortney, because Kevin has been a major player in this, and also Ken York, the city administrator for the city of Spring Hill, and their mayor of the mayor and the board of mayor and aldermen have worked to support us in this project. So it's been a cooperative effort of all involved. Commissioner Chalfant?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Call the question. Question's been called for. All in favor, call the question, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Question's been called for. We'll be voting on Resolution 20610 to authorize the interlocal agreement for property purchase of the rec center. If you're in favor of this resolution, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, please.
18 yes, 1 abstention, 2 no.
18 yes, 1 abstention, and 2 noes. Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 20619, resolution in support of fiscal year 2006 THDA home grant application. Commissioner Hayes.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Lynch on the second. Budget Committee report. Commissioner Green.
Budget Committee voted 5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Hayes.
Mayor Anderson did refer to this earlier. It's hard for us to believe that there are people in need in Williamson County, but I can tell you that we have several areas of this county who people have homes and they need some help in repairing and making those homes livable. This grant will assist that if they meet the qualifications, so I endorse it and hope that you will.
Thank you. Any questions of Commissioner Hayes on this resolution? I see none. 20619 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Call the vote, please.
21 yes.
21 yes, 0 no. Any other announcements or anything before we? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Langston, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're in adjournment. Thank you very much.
Would the pictures be sent back around?